Hello, good evening, and welcome to Become a Better Man. My name is Tunde Disu. Thank you for taking the time out to be part of today's program. On today's program, we are looking at a topic that may sound or look strange. And the topic of our conversation today is service and sacrifice. Service and sacrifice, the price tag of our freedom. Service and sacrifice, the price tag of our freedom. What is freedom? What is freedom? If you are to define freedom, what would you say freedom is? But more than that, what is the cost of freedom? What does it cost to be free? What is the price tag that somebody has to pay for you and I to be free, or somebody had paid so that you and I can be free? See, freedom is not free. Now, it may be free to the beneficiary, it may be free to you and I that are enjoying it, but somewhere, somehow, somebody paid for it. So, freedom is not free. It's been paid for, it's just not been paid for by you and I. So, what is freedom then? There are various definitions for freedom, especially different people will relate to freedom in different ways. But in general, freedom is a condition in which people have the opportunity to speak, to act, to pursue happiness without unnecessary external restriction. Freedom leads to enhanced expression of creativity. It allows you to express your original thoughts, and therefore it gives you the freedom to increase your ability to produce what you want, what you need, what you desire. And overall, when you are free, you will enjoy, you will experience a higher quality of life. Imagine you and I today are free. We walk down the road, we go to work, we jump on the train, we travel, we do all of that. We sleep when we want, we wake up when we want, we eat what we like, we do what we like because we have freedom. At the same time, there are people who are today incarceration, who are in prison. They can do what they want, they have to do what they're told. They can't eat what they want, they have to eat what they're given. They can't go where they want. They can only go as far as the environment will allow them. Now, you could say, well, those people they're there because of what they've done and all of that. Fine. But just because you and I are walking freely on the street doesn't mean you and I, we are ignorant as well, or we are innocent rather. So freedom it's an opportunity that is given to us. It's an opportunity that we enjoy because somebody somewhere has paid for it. Freedom is a complex ideal. It is so complex, it is so specific to individuals. But at the same time, we still need to find a general way that we address the issue of freedom so that everybody can relate to it in one way or another. So freedom is a complex ideal. And because of that, it must be redefined. It must be defended. It must be explained. It must be appreciated. It must be viewed by the beneficiaries, which is you and I, from a heart of gratefulness, a heart that is grateful for whoever paid the price so that you and I can be free. Freedom must be redefined. It must be defended. We that are enjoying it, we must defend it at all costs. Because the value of freedom can only be understood, can only be appreciated, can only be hallowed by those who have a good sense of what the past generations, what they have done, the sacrifice they paid, and the services they rendered so that you and I can have what we have today as freedom. So in our generation, in our children's generations and generations yet unborn, we must come to a point of understanding, of appreciation, and of defending what we have right now as freedom. Because if we don't, there is no guarantee that somebody won't come from somewhere tomorrow and take it away from us. And you could say, well, that's not possible. We're in the Western world. Nobody will do that, this and that. I can tell you now, somebody will do that. You just need to be acute, to be to be clued on to what is going on in the world today, where we see a lot of leaders rising up who are anti-freedom really in everything they do. All too often, those of us who live in freedom, we tend to ignore it. We tend to ignore the fact that this freedom is very fragile. This freedom that we see, that we enjoy, it is actually very, very fragile. Like I said, just look around what is happening in the world today, where many leaders are emerging now that are self-centered, that are nationalistic in their views. It's all about them and nothing else. It's an issue of get what you can what you get, and sit on the can, and the rest of the world can go somewhere else. Those are the type of those are some of the things that are threatening what we know today as freedom, and that's why I said freedom is fragile, and we take it for granted because we're used to it. We take it for granted because we didn't pay for it. We take it for granted because we didn't know what it cost for us to be free. While some people who are not raised within the confine of where traditional freedom is freely expressed, they even have trouble understanding and implementing what freedom is or what it meant to the society. It's like trying to explain to your friend who is from a rich family the fact that you didn't have your breakfast before you come to school this morning. It's like telling your rich friend from school or from university that for this time, this summer holiday, you're not traveling anywhere on holiday. You're going to be at home and just be at home. They can't comprehend. They cannot understand. They're not in that zone to even travel with you on that journey. Because to them, what's the issue? Just go. Because they are enjoying a level of freedom which they have no idea what it has cost their grandparents or great-grandparents or uncle or whoever who had made the provision for them to have that freedom. Freedom is not free. Somebody paid for it. Freedom is not free. It was paid for by somebody somewhere down the line. And all you and I can do, all we have to do, is to appreciate the sacrifice and the services that these people rendered. Most of them with their lives. Most of them with everything they had. So that you and I can have freedom that we're enjoying today. Many countries around the world, in an attempt to protect what they have come to know as freedom, they have created or crafted written documents called Constitution to protect, to preserve, to become the baseline upon which every citizen's freedom is protected. For instance, in the United States, they have the United States Constitution, but within that Constitution, they have what they call the Bill of Rights, which gives every citizen of every American citizen some legal rights, some rights that are, well, on paper, not contestable. But like I said, we are now living in an era where those things are now being questioned, where those freedom that we have come to know, we've come to enjoy, are now being questioned. They are now being queried. The boundaries are being pushed in different directions. And so within the Bill of Rights of the United States Constitution, you have things like the freedom of religion, the freedom of speech, the freedom of the press, the freedom of assembly, and freedom to petition the government. All these are freedom that the citizens are enjoying, but they are only enjoying it because somehow somebody had paid for it. Somebody paid for it. And those who paid for it, they didn't pay for it just in cash. They paid for it by serving. They paid for it in some cases by sacrifice, and in most cases, the ultimate sacrifice with their lives. So just because you can wake up in the morning and go to work and come back and sleep like a baby doesn't mean nothing is happening. It is because some people are standing on the fences. Some people are standing on those pillars. Some people are standing in those watchtowers and making sure you and I can live and enjoy this freedom. Freedom stands for something greater than just the right to act the way you like or to say what you want. Freedom also secures to everyone an equal opportunity of life. That is part of what freedom is giving us. It's not just the freedom or the release to say what you like, to act the way you like, to congregate and practice your religion. No, it also gives it's a playing field where we are all equal. Your freedom, just because you want to enjoy your freedom, for instance, cannot be used to inflict or to constrain me from enjoying my own freedom. So freedom also gives everyone an equal opportunity to life, to liberty, to pursuit of happiness, to go about your normal day duties or your job or your business or your career or whatever you do. All those things that we do by default, without thinking, without even processing, without asking the questions, how they come to be, those are part and parcel of your freedom and my freedom. While freedom, however, gives you the right to think, the right to believe, the right to speak and worship, or if you like, don't worship, the right to move about, the right to do all those things, those rights becomes curtailed. There is a limit to which they can go, especially when your right becomes an infringement on another person's freedom. So, yes, you are free. Oh, yes, we are free. But our freedom still have boundaries. Our freedom still have areas of jurisdictions. Our freedom still have places where they can go and how far they can go. Because if your freedom is becoming an issue, is infringing on my own freedom, then somebody else will have to adjudicate between us where the lines are, so that everybody know where their boundaries are. Freedom is not free. Freedom is not free. Somebody paid for it. And they paid for it in service and in sacrifice. Now, there's a difference between freedom of something or freedom from something and freedom to something. If you're going to be free from something, then you have to be free into something. You go from something to something. And I remember when I was preparing for this program, I remember reading about the State of the Union address given by President Roosevelt in 1941, where he highlighted the four core principles of the freedom that the world must have, everybody in the world must enjoy before the world can truly be seen or perceived to be free. He said the first freedom is the freedom of speech and expression. Everywhere in the world, where everybody is free to say what they want and express how they feel. Imagine if we just take that one freedom and we implement that in your personal life, in your business, in your office, at home, with your spouse, with your children, where everybody has the freedom to speak and freedom to express how they feel and what they want. Imagine what life will be like. with that. The second freedom he talked about was freedom of everyone to worship God or not worship God if that's the way they choose. Freedom to serve and worship your God. And if you choose not to worship Him, God bless you. Freedom to relate and connect to your Maker in your own way. But what do we have now? Everybody is trying to lord their own beliefs and their own religion and their own way of worship and their own understanding of God on everybody. And that is one of the biggest conflicts that we're experiencing in the world today. Because somebody thought your freedom is not good enough until I give you what I consider to be freedom. Especially in the area of religion and how to worship God or worshiping God. The third freedom that he talked about was freedom from want, freedom from lack, freedom from shortage. What was he talking about? He was talking about economical empowerment, economical understanding for everybody. Where everybody, if you can apply yourself, should be free to be able to make a living and sustain yourself and get yourself what you want and live a good life that that will make you happy. That is another freedom. But look at your world today. Look at my world today. Look at the society in which we live today. Do you think everybody is enjoying the freedom from want? Yes, everybody is looking for work. Everybody wants a job. Everybody wants to start a business. And rightly so. But tell me, where is the freedom for you to pursue, for you to earn what you are worth, for you to go home with a sizable package that is at least nearly of the same quality and quantity to the effort that you've put into that job? I don't care what your job is. If you do a 9-to-5 job, if you have your own business, if you have your own enterprise, whatever it is. Then the fourth freedom was we should all be free from the freedom of fear. The freedom to be afraid. Afraid of everything. Afraid of sickness. Afraid of terrorism. Afraid of the market crashing. Afraid of not having enough. Afraid that you will lose your job tomorrow. Afraid for your health. Afraid for this. Afraid of your neighbor. Afraid of your cousin. And everybody is afraid. But more than that, he was talking about freedom from the reduction or the ability of any government anywhere in the world to have enough power to oppress or harass another government or any nation to be able to harass any other nation. We must all be free from that. But what do we have today? We have the superpowers, the 7 permanent representatives of the United Nations, because they are the superpowers. They are the ones that have the missiles and this and the this and the that. And the rest of the world are their beck and call. That's not freedom. That is not freedom. But as human beings, the greatest and the biggest freedom that we need, that we must strive after, that we must pursue with everything, is the freedom of our minds. The freedom of our minds, the freedom of your mind is the biggest pursuit of freedom that you must engage with. The freedom of your mind. Because even the Bible said, as a man think in his mind, so is he. You can only go to the degree to which your mind is free. You can only express yourself to the degree to which you have freedom of your mind. You can only articulate, you can only present, you can only postulate to the degree to which your mind is free. One of the greatest musicians, in my opinion, that ever lived was Bob Marley. And Bob Marley said in one of his songs, the Redemption song, he said, emancipate yourself from mental slavery, because nobody but yourself can free your mind for you. Deliver yourself from the slavery of your mind. Set yourself free. Let your mind be free, because if your mind is free, you are free indeed. If your mind is free from slavery, from bondage, from shackles, from restriction, then you are a free person. You are a free person. So to truly set yourself free from all shackles, you must live in a state of freedom, especially, precisely, exactly in your mind. Your mind has to be free. But remember, freedom is not free. It is paid for by service. It is paid for by sacrifice. So if your mind has to be free, if your mind needs to be free, since your mind needs to be free, there must be an element of service and a big element of sacrifice that goes into it. Because your mind, in the true sense of it, your mind is the only environment over which you have full and total control. That's the only area where you and I will have true control over our minds. But once you allow yourself to clean out your mind, once you set your mind free, once you break all the shackles and all the lockdowns and the handcuffs and the bondage and the rope around your mind, once you set your mind free, you become unstoppable. You become unstoppable. Hence the Bible said, as a man think in his mind, so is he. If you see yourself in your mind as free, nobody can put you on hold. If you see yourself in your mind as bound, nobody can set you free. Remember what Bob Marley said, you are responsible for setting your mind free. And the biggest constraint, the biggest hold, the biggest shackle that is holding people's mind bound is the way we think. It's your thought patterns that is the greatest challenge to your life and my life. How you think. Because how you think will shape how you see yourself, and how you see yourself will determine how you react and you respond, how you carry yourself, and ultimately that will become your story. How you think, your thought pattern, your thought life is the greatest area of freedom that you can have. That is why there are people who live in their own house, run their own business, have their own children, eat their own food, drive their own cars, but because their mind is in prison, they are as locked down as if they are in the highest security prison in the world. But yet there are people who are bound, who are in solitary confinement in Guantanamo Bay prison, in the highest security prison you can think of. But because their mind is free, they are physically there, but they've gone far. What is the sum total of your thought pattern, of your thought life? How is your mind today? How free are you in your mind? What is holding? What has a grip over your mind? How free is your mind? Because whatever is currently holding or binding your mind is shaping, is holding the key to your freedom. And these thinking patterns, they come from years of things that you've done the same way over and over and over again. They come from being attached to old beliefs that you've been conditioned yourself to from a long time ago. Well, this is the way I am. This is what always happened. This is how I'm always treated. This is the way. No. The beauty of having a mind is that you can set it free. The beauty of having a mind is that you can change it. If you don't like what you're seeing, just change your mind. That is the biggest differentiation between us human beings and every other form of mammals. The fact that we can think, the fact that we can decide, the fact that we can make changes to ourselves. If your mind is not free today, if you are not free in your mind, I'm not saying you are sick, I'm not saying you are unwell, maybe you are, but if your mind is not free today, check how you're thinking, what you are thinking. I remember meeting a pastor from Netherlands years ago, Pastor Gerten Goshmeding, and we were in a conversation, and he said something that up to today still just get me pecked up. And he said, "Can I ask you a question?" He said, "Why do you think the way you think? Why do you think the way you think?" And up till now, when I'm about to do something, or when I'm processing something, or when I'm handling something, I ask myself, why do you think like that? Why are you thinking along that line? Why are those things occupying your mind right now? Why are your thought patterns going along this direction? Why do you think the way you think? So, if you have an issue, if you have a challenge, if your mind is not free, if your mind is being held bound, I've got good news for you. We're going to go through a few things that you can do right now. You can start to do almost immediately to set your mind free. Because until your mind is free, you're not free. You could live in the palace and sleep on waterbed and fly the most elegant aircraft and eat the best of food and whatever. But if your mind is not free, you are in bondage. You are in prison. You are locked down. You're going nowhere. And all that is required of you and I to set our minds free, to enjoy true freedom, is service and sacrifice. You want to set your mind free? Let's go. The first thing, free up the old. Set free the old. Make note of how you've been conditioned to think about things. Just consider, how have you been thinking about things up till now? Ask yourself, where in my mind is this shackle? What is holding me back in my mind? And it just, the ability to answer that question will open the floodgate to the freedom of your mind. Because if you are able to locate the thought patterns that are holding your mind bound, that's it. You're free. Your mind will go wild. Your mind will run like, woohoo, freedom at last. And all the information that you need to start processing, to start living, to start enjoying, to start experiencing new ways, they will start flooding into you. But you need to free up the old. You need to let go the old ways of thinking. Number 2, set your yes free. Set your yes free. Most of us, we have a default setting to no. And no. Oh, would you like to do this? No. Do you want to go out? No. What would you like to do? No. Do you need to go there? No. Just without even thinking, by default, you said no. Do you know every time you say something negative, you shut down the creativity, the intuition, the ability to process something on the inside of you? Now, am I saying you should say yes to everything? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying everything is yes, 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 yes. But I'm saying don't set your default button to no. So that people don't ask her. If you ask her, she's going to say no. So what's the point? Observe those times that you are very quick to say no. So instead of just letting the default setting flow out, grab it, hold it, ask yourself, why am I saying no? Why am I thinking this way? Just shock yourself and say yes for a change and see how your whole body will be running everywhere. Say, no, 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 that's not the way it is. But remember, it's your mind. It is your own mind. And the only thing you have full control over is your mind. Oh, yes, initially you will struggle with the yes coming out. It will be like you're trying to say yes and the no is almost pushing itself out. But you pull it back and you say yes. Just that switch, just that change, just that adjustment, you will see the difference in your life. Make it a point of duty to say throughout today, I'm not going to say no. Rather than saying no, I will find another word to use rather than saying no. Let me think about it. All right, I'll come back to you on that. Is that what you're really saying? That needs some further consideration. We need to talk more about it rather than you just say no, 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 no. Set your yes free. Use yes even more. What else can you do to set your mind free? Engage the service of the right part of your brain. Engage the service of the right part of your brain. You know, our brain is got right and the left part. But the right part is where the creativity juice flows from. But most of us, we only use the left part, which is a routine, the same old, same mundane, just doing it, and no pressure, no action, no thought process required. Just do it because that's what we do. No. Shock yourself. Engage the service of the right part of your brain, which is the creativity side. Do something out of the ordinary. This is summer. Go to B&Q. Buy paint, buy brush. Paint down your room in a different color. Even if it's just for 1 week. Well, I've never done painting before. That's the idea. Do something you've never done before. Break the mold of sameness. Get the right side of your brain involved. Get it engaged. That is where your creativity comes from. Get out of the comfort zone. Get away from the just same old routine, mundane thing. No, do something different. Paint something, write a poem, write a book, build a table, create a mold, go and buy dough from B&Q and mold something and shock yourself. When you start to engage the right part of your brain, you will be shocked how creative you could be. You'll be amazed how much of yourself you will discover in the process. Set the right side of your brain free and see your life take a new meaning of freedom. Set yourself free. The next thing you could do is free your words. Set your words free. Let both your critical and emotional thinking, let it just come through your words. Don't just think it in your head. Just don't just ponder it over in your mind. Say it. Say the way you feel. Say what you think. Tell people how you feel. I can't really. No, you can. It's your feeling. It's your word from your mouth. It's for your own freedom. Use words like I want, I desire, I love, I want that, I have this. Don't just bottle yourself down into whatever they feed you, that's what you get. Express yourself. Get yourself out of yourself, or get out of your own way for yourself to become the fullness of who you should be. Let your freedom, let the freedom that you want to experience, let it come forth from the inside of you and let it shoot out with your words in your mouth. Set yourself free from judgment. Judgment of yourself. There's nothing good. I'm not just good. Not good at this. I can't do that. No. Shush. If you can't set yourself free, what chance have we got? Set yourself free from your own judgment. You know, the biggest judgment that we experience are the ones that we put on ourselves. I'm not good enough. I'm too fat. Oh, I'm too black. I'm too tall. Oh, I don't know how to say it. Well, I can't eat that food. I can't go there. I don't have the money. We can't afford it. How do you know? Because you judge yourself. Set yourself free from your own judgment and condemnation. And then set others free. Don't hold people in your prison. Can I say this? When you imprison somebody, that person is not just in the prison by themselves. You are equally in that prison. Because it is the responsibility of the prison warden, of the prison guard, to guard the prisoner. So guess what? They're both in the prison yard. Judging yourself and judging others, it's a weight. It imprisons your thoughts, it imprisons your spirit, it imprisons your freedom. Set it free. Free your judgment, free yourself from self-condemnation and judgment, and set others free. Free your ideas about money. Change your mindset concerning money. See, money is not the paper. Money is not the pound sterling, the dollars, the yen, or the naira, or the rupees, or whatever your currency is. That is not money. Money is an ideal. It's a concept. But if your understanding of money is so far limited and bound and tied to the piece of paper, you'll forever be in bondage. You'll forever be locked down, because to you, if you don't have that paper, then that's the end of the world. No. Money is energy. Money is your thoughts. Money is a mindset. Money is an ideal. And the thing about energy and the thing about energy is that you can actually direct energy. You can get it to go in certain direction. Well, if money is energy, then use your thoughts. The same thought that you use to direct your energy. For instance, where do you get the energy to stay without food on the days you said you're fasting? Where did that energy come from? Where did it come from? It's because in your thought, you said to yourself, we're not eating today because I'm fasting. That's the energy. And that thought becomes the energy that channels your stomach to say, don't even think about it. We're not having anything today because we're fasting. And then you go through the first day, the second day, the third day, and then you break the fast. Say your fasting is over, and suddenly your stomach is like, oh, give me some food, give me some food, give me some food. Where was that cry all the past 3 days? Because your thought, you've used your thought as a channel to direct the energy of hunger away from your consciousness, away from your thought, away from your stomach. It's the same thing with money. It's the same thing with money. Be deliberate. Be consciously directing the flow of money with your thoughts. Free your control. Free your control. Because progress gets stuck in the guise of, I need to make it perfect. It needs to be well balanced. Everything has to be. Now, there's a place for excellence. There's a need for good job, good, well done. But perfection is unattainable. Months ago, we did about 2 or 3 programs on the danger of being a perfectionist. You should go and check on my YouTube channel. It's still there. The danger of being a perfectionist. It cripples you from even starting, not to talk of finishing. Because you think, I can't get it right. It won't be perfect. What would they say? What if it didn't finish? What if it didn't work? How will it work? I don't have what it takes. I don't have the resources. Who's going to buy it? Who's going to sell? And because of that, you lock yourself down. Set yourself free. Set yourself free. Be clear in your intentions. But let go of the need to cross all the T's and dot all the I's and round all the circles before you can do what you have to do. Set yourself free. Allow your emotions, by virtue of your true desire and belief, to guide your steps. Let go and let flow. Just set yourself free. For crying out loud. Because if you are not free, when you are not free, all of us that are related, that are connected, that are tied to you, we're with you in that prison. We're with you in that bondage. And even though we want to go, we can't go because we're tied to your waist. So do it. If not for yourself, do it for us. Set yourself free. But remember, freedom comes with a price tag. Freedom is not free. There's a price tag to be paid. There's a price tag that has been paid. There's a price tag that is being paid even right now for the freedom that you and I are enjoying. Which brings me back to today in history. Because 75 years ago, on this day, was the D-Day landing at Normandy. And so today is the 75th anniversary of the D-Day landing by the Allied armies at Normandy. And one of the most remarkable Allied war operations happened on this day, today, the 6th of June, exactly 75 years ago. And because of that day event, because of the service, the selfless service, and in most cases, the ultimate sacrifice of brave men and women, you and I can enjoy the freedom that we have today. Oh, we are free. I'm going to France. I'm going to Germany. I'll go to Spain. From there, I'll go to Cyprus. And from there, I will come back to London. And I'll do 2 days there. We are free to do all of that because somebody, somewhere, 75 years ago, on this day, paid the sacrifice for this freedom that you and I enjoy. Somebody, somewhere, paid, delivered this service that has given you and I the freedom that we're enjoying today. And so, as far as I'm concerned, it is worth remembering this sacrifice and the ultimate price that all these people paid as a price tag for our freedom, especially for those of us here in Europe. Because on that day, over 150,000 men landed at the coast of northern France in Normandy as part of what was called then Operation Neptune, to confront the advancement of Hitler, to confront the advancement of the German soldiers who were virtually walking through the whole of Europe. Men and women put their lives on the line. Yes, the bullets were flying. Yes, the landmines were blowing up people. Yes, everything you can think of was going on. But they refused to give up. They made up their mind that not on my watch. They were committed to the services and they were committed to the sacrifice. And because of that sacrifice, because of their relentless services, the Allied forces experienced victory on that day. Within a year of the landing at Normandy, Adolf Hitler was dead and the Germans surrendered to the Allied forces. And that brought the end of the Western Theater War. But somebody paid for it. Somebody paid for it. And so it is noteworthy that for the freedom, if nothing else, freedom of movement, freedom of expression, freedom of worship, freedom of relationships that we are enjoying today, it is worthy for us to remember these people. And that is why leaders from everywhere, from around the world, they are all gathering today to remember these people, to remember the sacrifices of these people. And as I was preparing for this program today, I was so touched in myself. I was so touched in my heart. I wanted to also pay my respect. I Googled to say, where is the nearest military cemetery from where I am? And thank God there's one just down the road. And I went there. And I walked through that cemetery. I walked through and I looked at every erected remembrance stone of each and every of the fallen soldiers in that place. Reading their names, looking at their regiments, where they served. But what struck me the most were their ages. I think the oldest I saw was 55 or 58. But the youngest was 17 years old. And yet he was willing, he was committed, he was totally dedicated to serve and sacrifice so that you and I can enjoy the freedom that we're enjoying today. And as I walk through, as I go from one to the next, 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 I was thinking, these are somebody's children, somebody's son, somebody's husband, somebody's brother, somebody's father. And for some of them, never will be somebody's father. But they laid it all on the line. They paid the ultimate price so that you and I can enjoy freedom today. And as I was reading through, and I came back from that, and I was reading through what some people are saying about these people. Those who are remembering the services and the sacrifices that these people paid so that you and I can enjoy freedom. The price tag, they looked at it and they said, put it on my record. They looked at the price tag for your freedom and my freedom, and they willingly, happily swiped their credit cards or their debit cards so that they can pay for it. And we remember them today. But more than that, we thank them. We are eternally indebted to them. Prince Charles said, I remember the last time we were there. I will never forget the determination that they still exude by being there, talking of those that are the veterans that are still alive. Being at the cemeteries and being at the commemorations, they always remember their comrades and their friends and the people they had to leave behind on the battlefield. He said, this country, you and I, we lost countless special people, and we owe it to them and their families to remember them, to commemorate them, but more than that, to thank them, to appreciate them, to honor them for the sacrifice and the services that they rendered, the payment that they paid for your freedom and my freedom. Prime Minister Theresa May said, they didn't boast, they didn't force, they served. They did not boast, they were not making any fuss, they were just serving. They did their duty as they laid down their lives so that we might have a better life and build a better world. And to them, we say thank you. Ruth Davidson, somebody, I don't know who this Ruth is, wrote something that really just touched my heart on Twitter. She said 75 years ago, 156,115 young men hurtled onto landing craft, arrived in Normandy. They waded through sea and blood and fallen comrades to make towards the sound of guns. Their courage, their sacrifice, their services secured our freedom. And to them today we say, thank you. A member of the House of Representatives in America said, we owe a debt of gratitude to every single young soldier that faced this sin on this morning 75 years ago. Those who lived and those that sacrificed their lives. Let us never forget the greatest generation, the definition of courage. And we salute them. Hawkins History said today is the 75th anniversary of D-Day landings. Over the years, we have been some of those for Normandy. None of them consider themselves to be heroes. But to us, they always will be heroes. Thank you. These people, they paid with sacrifice, They paid with services so that you and I can be free. You know, one of the things I do, and I don't say this to as a statement of pride. One of the things I do every time, everywhere as time permits that I'm traveling, if I stop at a service station for whatever reason, if I stop at a service station and I see anybody in uniform, I approach them. Some of them I just want to say, thank you. But they didn't, I don't care. They're in uniform. I don't care what uniform, including police and firefighters and anybody in uniform. I go to them to say thank you. And when I'm able, I offer to buy them lunch. It's the least I can do. Because while you and I are putting our heads on the pillow at night, these young men and women, they're putting their lives on the line so that you and I can have freedom, so that you and I can enjoy freedom. So I'm challenging all of us, whether you're on this program right now, you're watching it later, or you see it somewhere, I am challenging all of us. What are you going to do? What would you do to honor our servicemen and women? One of my favorite pastime YouTube thingy I like to do from time to time is to sit down and watch all these homecoming of military men and women, how they surprise their family, their spouses, their children, and 8 times out of 10, tears in my eyes. Some of them, they've gone for a whole year. They've missed their children's birthday, their spouses, their this and that. And for what? Service and sacrifice. To purchase your freedom and my freedom. And to them, thank you. So what are you going to do? What can you do to honor these people? Number one, you can just see them and say thank you. It's the most simple and direct way to show your appreciation to the servicemen and women, for people in uniform, is to say thank you. Thank you for your service. We honor you. Whether it's a family member, whether it's your spouse, whether it's a friend, any service member, wherever you see them, just walk up to them. Thank you. Just that word, those 2 words, thank you. It goes to show that we appreciate the services and the sacrifice that these people, they are rendering to us. The price they are paying for our freedom. You can also give back to these people. I know to some of my Nigerian friends, you don't like anybody in uniform. And it's understandable. But the truth of the matter is, they may not be fighting a war right now. They may not be on any battlefield right now. But if we are called tomorrow, while you and I are hiding under our beds, these brave men and these brave women will face the battle, will face the bullet, will gladly die to preserve and protect and purchase your freedom and my freedom. So what can you do? Give back. Give back to them in one way or another. Volunteer your time. Donate your money. Support the veterans. Anything they're doing, anything about them, contribute to it. It's the least we can do to these men and women. There are so many veterans all around us, if only we will open our eyes. I saw a post on I think it was on LinkedIn or Facebook 2 days ago, about a soldier who was saying, yes, it's good to remember the fallen, It's honorable to honor them. But there are those that are back home. Some without their legs, without their eyes, without their every parts of their body. And some came back the whole body intact, but their mind was left in the battlefield. They can't sleep at night. Their spouse can't just touch them unaware. It's like they're still in the battlefield. The least we can do is to honor these people, to respect them, to give them, to make them feel we appreciate what they've done. Another thing you can do is to listen to their stories. Not because they want to tell their stories, but because they want to give you an understanding so that you can appreciate what they've done. Ask them, so tell me exactly, what was your role? How did you do it? What made you put yourself up for that in the first place? What was the thought? What were you thinking about? Did you not know you could be killed in the battlefield? And hear how they say it. We must protect and preserve this land, the freedom. But one of the biggest ways by which we can honor these servicemen and women is to be informed and to vote in elections. Now, you may be saying, what's election got to do with it? It's everything. Because the freedom that these people fought for, the freedom that these people gained for us, the only way we can preserve it, the only way we can hold it together is to go out there and defend the freedom they've given us by casting our ballot, our votes in elections. Because democracy is one of the outworking of our freedom. And the only thing we can do is to show appreciation. Reach out to military kids. Encourage your children to go out of their ways to be their friends. These people are constantly moving from one place to another. Before the kid will make a friend here, now they're moving again. If you have a kid who has a military, a child from a military family in their school, encourage them to be their friends. Raise money, donate money, do whatever you can do to honor these people because they paid for your freedom and my freedom with their services and in most cases with their lives as the ultimate sacrifice. Today is a day of celebration of freedom, but it's a day to remember that the freedom didn't come free. The freedom was not free. Somewhere, somehow, some people paid for it. They paid for it with service, and they paid for it with their lives. Thank you so much. I honor all of your comments, contributions, and your support for this platform. I also want to use this opportunity as I close to let you know I've just published another book. It's called Value Added Service. Value Added Service. And the ethos, the theme, the central point of this book is personal responsibility in delivering excellence. Personal responsibility in delivering excellence as a way of delivering your service. So, what am I saying? From today and Sunday, if you go to Amazon, if you log on to Amazon and search for the book Value Added Service, and after this program I'm going to post a link on my Facebook, you can click on it. You have the opportunity for a free download of the book, free. You can share the link with your friends, with your contacts. All I ask in return is once you've read it, and please do read it, because I know it will be a blessing to you. Once you've read it, would you go back to Amazon and leave a feedback, a review, a comment, whatever, about what you've seen or what you've learned, what you've gained from the book? That's all I ask for. But between today, from today till Sunday, if you go onto Amazon and you search for value added service, or you follow the link that I'll be posting on my social media handles tonight, you can have a free download of the book. Free, nothing attached. All I ask is, when you've read it, please do go back and leave a comment. Please do go back and leave a review. Please do go back and say something about the book, what you think about it. And I appreciate that, and I thank you in advance for it. Thank you so much for being part of tonight's program. I know it's kind of go this way and that way, but I felt it is important for us to remember these men and women who put their lives on the line, who looked at the price tag and didn't mind the cost, but they said, put it on my tab. And they gladly paid for it so that you and I can enjoy freedom. And once again, to them I say, thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. We appreciate you. We honor you. So until we meet again next week, remember, we are better men and we're better women because we are on this road of discovery towards our destination. God bless you. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.